ما شاء الله لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل نعم المولى ونعم النصير ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله قاسم الجبارين مبير الظالمين مضرك الهاربين والصلاة والسلام وتحية والإكرام على النبي الأمي المكي المدني الهاشمي الذي سمي في السماء أحمد وفي الأرض بأبي القاسم محمد
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المرتجبين الهداة المهديين سيما أولهم أمير المؤمنين وآخرهم بقية الله العظيم روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء ورحمة الله على محبيهم ومواليهم وشيعتهم أجمعين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم وقتلتهم وغاصب حقوقهم ومنكري فضائلهم ملعونين. Amma ba'd, for the happiness of Hazrat Zahra Marziyah, for the enlightenment of the graves of your Nabil, for the graves of Shuhada, Ulama and Siddiqeen, for the safety of the followers of Ahlul Bayt around the world, and for the safety and the hastening of every appearance of Hazrat Baqiyatullah al-A'zam, Arwahun al-Fida, please recite Bilal al-Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one who is Rahman and one who is Rahim. We began an overview of Dua al-Iftitah yesterday, removing ourselves or slightly pulling back from the in-depth analysis that we were having of certain parts of the Dua in order to explain how that Dua flows and how it simulates the feelings of an individual at the time of iftar. Because everything that we have in the religion, it is logical. It flows, everything flows. It has this fluidity to it. And very often we become very stringent or very black and white. Whereas the religion is more fluid. And by black and white, I don't mean like, oh, maybe this is halal or this is haram. By black and white, I mean that we're so stuck in our ways that we're not willing to view something from a different perspective or, look at something or understand something from someone else's viewpoint. When we encounter problems in our lives, we try and run head-on into them and try and destroy the problem, rather than accepting that the problem is something that Allah has sent my way. And so instead of trying to beat down the problem, just flow around it. Accept that it's there. You see how water flows when there are rocks in a riverbed. And they're standing there, and the water wants to flow. The water doesn't wait for 1,000 years and slowly erode the problem out the way, then flow. It says, no, okay, I'll find a way, and it goes around. Our spirituality should be like that as well. That it should be constantly fluid, because we are constantly fluid. Because within us, we have that sarmadi nature. We have that constant nature that is attached to Allah. نَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي, I blew part of my soul into Him. And so that constant nature of God, that is ever changing but never changing, that is ever moving but never moving, that nature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that flows but does not flow. See, we can't comprehend how can something move but yet not move. How can something action but yet not action? How can something will but yet not will? But this is because of our limited minds and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. But in our arrogance, we sometimes think, oh, well, this doesn't make sense. How could God do this? And this is, discussions around the essence of God. But He's beyond comprehension. He is the one that فَطَرَ الْخَلَائِقَ بِقُدْرَتِهِ وَنَشَرَ الرِّيَاحَ بِرَحْمَتِهِ وَوَتَّدَ بِالصُّخُورِ مَيْدَانَ أَرْضِهِ. In the first khutbah of Nahj al-Balagha, that he did things out of his qudra. He spread the earth out of his qudra. Everything He does, you try and comprehend Him, you can't, because the intellect cannot encapsulate Him. But there is one place that God can reside. See, the mind cannot comprehend the essence of God. The eyes, they cannot view Allah. But there is a place where you can both view, comprehend, and feel Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is in the heart. When the heart views, the mind doesn't comprehend, it can't understand. When the heart contains, the mind can't rationalize. How can something that is uncontainable be contained? The heart feels, but the mind is saying the rest of the body isn't feeling anything. But the heart is saying, no, there is something there, I feel it. And that's level of junoon. When a person lives with the heart, then everyone around them says that they're crazy. I'll give you an example, or a story that will help explain this. See, when people reach different levels of ma'rifah of Allah, their understanding of Allah becomes kufr to those that are other levels of ma'rifah. The arif's understanding of Allah is kufr to the layman, because the arif sees Allah everywhere. And the layman's understanding of Allah is kufr to the arif, because the layman only sees Allah in certain places. He only sees Him at the time of salah. But the arif, he sees it in every single bit of existence. The arif knows that even the inanimate objects, they do the dhikr of Allah. Even those things that do not move. Surah Al-Nahl. أَوَلَمْ يَرَوْا مَا خَلَقَ اللَّهُ مِنْ شَيْءٍ يَتَفَيَّأُ ظِلَالُهُ عَنِ الْيَمِينِ وَالشَّمَائِلِ سُجَّدًا لِلَّهِ وَهُمْ دَاخِرُونَ. Do you not view the mountains and how their shadows cast from left to right, as they do sajda to Allah in a state of utter abasement? Imam Sadiq says, do you not hear the creaking of your home in the middle of the night? That sound that everyone looks up, what's that sound? The creaking of my... He says, this is your house doing the dhikr of Allah. He says, do you not see the bird? Every time it takes a drink of water, it looks up. It says, with every drop of water it takes, it says, Alhamdulillah. Wow. See, the neighing of the horse, the barking of the dog, these are all different things that in their way they do dhikr. And we have a hadith that the neighing of the horse, this is what it's saying. The crowing of the rooster, this is what it is saying. They have their own tasbihat that they recite. So the story. Sa'di Shirazi has a book by the name of Gulistan. Gulistan Sa'di is a compilation of his poems. In there, he does an addendum or an extension to the story of Layla and Majnun. Now, we know that Nizami, when he writes Layla and Majnun, is not about a physical relationship. Rather, it's about the relationship between man and God. So Sa'di says that there was a king that came to power and he heard the story of Majnun. They told him of a man who from scholarly heights had fallen to the lowest of lows and had become somewhat of a barbarian and was living out in the desert. So the king says, you know what, why is it? They say, well, there was this girl, her name was Layla, and he just went crazy. He says, okay, bring this Majnun, let's hear his story. So they bring Majnun. Majnun stands in front of the king. The king says, tell me, explain this Layla to me. The one that you have, a scholar of society, you become crazy over her. So Majnun begins to describe Layla. He says her hair was like this, her skin was like this, her eyes are like this, her nose is... King says, he's quite impressed. He says, maybe we should find this Layla. Maybe we should find this Layla. So Layla is brought. They search the whole kingdom, and Layla is brought in front of the king. She stands in front, and Saadi writes, he says, the king's eyes moved from her dry hair to her dried skin to her sunken belly, as if to describe someone that wasn't very attractive. The king looked and he made a face. Majnun at that point becomes infuriated with rage. He says, "O king, in order to understand the beauty of Layla, you need the eyes of Majnun." See, when a person ascends in spirituality closer to Allah, it is only them that can understand how they perceive their Lord. How everyone else perceives to them is different. Hence why there is no taqleed in the aqa'id, there's no taqleed in tawheed. You must reach your own conclusion. And everyone's understanding of Allah, how I view Allah, is different to how you view Allah. It doesn't mean that my viewing of Him is wrong or your viewing of Him is wrong. It just means that He has manifest at various levels to us. That some even see Allah within food. I told Hasnain Zaidi, I said a couple of nights ago, that He, the one that He takes the fruit and He will speak to it. That how is it that you are created? How is it that the seed was sown? The farmer that brought you, and then all of this. And He will look at this peach. And then before eating it, He will analyze it from every angle, that this is a barakah from Allah. And then He will consume it. This is the different levels of understanding, the different levels of ma'rifah that a person attains. Where they view their Lord at different points and at different times. And no one can understand anyone's understanding, but the thing is that the closer you get, the more the people call you Majnun. The more the people call you crazy. In fact, there is a saying attributed to Abu Dharr that says that Abu Dharr would say, "La yakmalu al-iman," that the completion of iman of an abd is not complete, or the iman of an abd is not complete until the people call him Majnun, until the people call him crazy. Because at that point, he only sees his Lord, he only understands his Lord. No one else understands what he sees, what he perceives, what he knows. And these du'as, they are the height of junoon. They're the height of love towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That an individual sits in front of his Lord and recites. And lucky is that individual that gets the opportunity to sit and recite. Because many are not given the tawfiq. As we said yesterday, Allah brings us, but He may not bestow the tawfiq on us to be able to recite it. He says, I'll bring you to dua iftitah. Whether you choose to recite or listen or do it, it's up to you. But I've given you the tawfiq. I've brought you this far. This is His love. Anyhow, in the dua yesterday, we reached, and you will have seen this whole movement. The dua is being set up. Then the supplicant thinks he's not worthy. He remembers some other blessings of Allah. Then he falls into a system of praise. And then he begins to set himself up with some more dua. And then he realizes, actually, what has Allah already done for me? I'm not even worthy. He remembers that. He falls into another bout of praise. So after the final bout of praise, which is the longest of them, we begin now the praise of Allah, of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. And we start with the praise of the Holy Prophet. And slowly but surely, and this is maybe a discussion for another day, that, the certain things that the Imam is using to speak about the Holy Prophet. I mean, first and foremost is Abd. The highest station that a person can attain in Islam is the one of a servant or a slave. So he's saying, Abdika wa Rasulik. First he's your Abd, then he's your Rasul, then he's Ameen. All of these things, but first and foremost, it is servitude. How is it that I fulfill the rights of servitude towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And then we move on to Amirul Mu'mineen, we move on to Sayyidah, and we list every single one of the Imams. Because this is also one of the adab of dua, one of the requirements of dua. If you want your dua accepted, then you praise Allah, you announce your sins, you send salawat upon the Holy Prophet, you count his blessings. You praise Allah, you count his blessings, you admit your sins, send salawat upon the Holy Prophet, and then you ask for what you want. So in this part, we're sending the salams, the salutations upon Ahlul Bayt, until we reach our Imam. And now at this point, the dua does something very interesting. After we've gone through the sifat of the Imam, حججك على عبادك وأولئك في بلادك صلاة كثيرة دائمة, and then اللهم صل على ولي الأمر القائم المؤمل, and we go through like the Imam and this characteristics of the Imam. He is the vigilant guardian, that reliable patron, وعدل المنتظر, the awaited establisher of justice. وحفه بملائكة المقربين. Now we start praying for the Imam, that surround him with your nearest angels. وأيده بروح القدس, and assist him with روح القدس. روح القدس, according to the narration of the sixth Imam, is neither angel nor jinn nor man. Ruh al-Qudus is a fourth form of creation, which is neither angel nor man. But Ruh al-Qudus descends and aids people, not just the Imam. But for example, in Da'bal al-Khudai's case, where Da'bal recites these famous lines of poetry, أَفَاطِنُ لَوْ خِلْتِ الْحُسَيْنَ مُجَدِّلَ وَقَدْ مَعَ تَعْشَانِ بِشَطَّ الْفُرَاتِ. Those lines that he recites in front of the eighth Imam, Imam says to him, Da'bal, these are not your words, rather these are the words that have been inspired to you by Ruh al-Qudus. So Ruh al-Qudus is something totally different. Refer to it as the Holy Spirit, refer to it as something, but it is neither angel, nor jinn, nor man. It's a fourth form of existence, according to the narration of the sixth Imam. وَأَيَّدَهُ بِرُوحِ الْقُدُسِ, and so aid him, strengthen him with the Ruh al-Qudus. Because what the Imam has to do is very difficult. What the Imam has to come, his task is far more difficult than all the other Imams. And so this strengthening of Ruh al-Qudus. And I said to you that Laylatul Qadr, the Imam embarks, before Laylatul Qadr, he embarks upon a 3-month spiritual program in order to be able to receive the Amr that comes down on Laylatul Qadr. So here again, we're praying for the Imam constantly. Then we move on to essentially we're asking for what the Imam should do, but it's actually what the Imam will do, what we want. But actually here is a way that the Imam has highlighted for us what the 12th Imam will do, what he will do when he comes upon the earth. Allahumma ja'alhu da'iya ila kitabik. Choose him to be the caller to your book. Wal qa'ima bidinik. So he will call to the book of Allah. What is it that we have done, you know, in regards to our relationship with the Holy Quran, because the Imam will rule with the Quran. And in fact, in the letter that Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam sends to the people of Kufa in reply to their letters, they said to him, you know, we want to appoint you as an Imam, we want to appoint you as our Imam. And Abu Abdullah replies to them, فَلَا أَمْرِي مَعَ الْإِمَامِ إِلَّا الْعَامِلُ بِالْكِتَابِ. You should know that the Imam is none but the one that orders from the book of Allah. وَدَائِنُ بِالْحَقِّ وَحَابِسُ نَفْسُهُ إِلَى ذَاتِ اللَّهِ. It's along 5 sifat. But the first thing that the Imam says is that فَلَا أَمْرِي مَعَ الْإِمَامِ إِلَّا الْعَامِلُ بِالْكِتَابِ. None is the Imam except the one that calls from the book, that commands you from the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If I don't know the Quran, I don't know how I can defend my faith through the Quran. I don't understand Tawheed through the Quran. I don't understand Nabuwwat or Imamat or anything through the Quran. Then when the Imam comes to establish that justice and that rule upon the earth through the Quran, I will be one of those people that say, what are you talking about? Where did he get this from? And by the way, there are narrations like this. His Shi'as will be the first to reject him. Those that awaited him will be the first to reject him. Those that were the polytheists and the mushrikeen will be the first to accept him. In fact, it goes one step further. See, because history, it repeats itself. Amir al-Mu'mineen says to Harith al-Hamadani as well, in the letter in Nahj al-Balagha, says, Harith, no, that history will repeat itself. The actors will change, the participants will change, but the themes will remain the same. So look towards the people of the past to know what is happening in the future. The people of Kufa invited the Imam. I sit every day saying Al-Ajal, Al-Ajal, Al-Ajal with a ayn. And the Imam comes. But then, you know, it's a bit difficult. The reality dawns on us. Maybe someone buys us out, or maybe whatever. The reality dawns on us. And so the narration says that his Shi'as will then write letters to him, saying, go back, we were fine without you. Why are you coming and all this that you brought? We're not ready for it. You know, we were better off without you. Why? Because they weren't attached to the Quran. وَالْقَائِمَ بِدِينِكَ, and make him your establisher of religion. I will reject him because he will be the one that comes to establish religion, but I haven't even established religion in myself or my own home. Let alone establishing religion with the Imam. I can't even establish the religion within myself. I can't even establish the religion within my home. How will I be able to stand by his side? استخلفه في الأرض كما استخلفت الذين من قبله. Make him succeed in the earth as you made those previous to him succeed. Establish for him his faith which you have approved. That faith of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not our approved religion. Not our religion that we have added innovation after innovation to. Rather the religion of Allah. Not our cultural Islam that is bound by language, but rather the true Islam that transcends languages, that transcends cultures, that transcends every single construct that I have created in my finite mind, that I somehow, some way believe is hujjah over the orders of Allah. Says He will establish that true religion. And the narration say that when He comes, they'll say, what is this new religion you've brought? It's not new. This is the religion. But you've watered it down all this time. You spent your life thinking, oh no, my cousin's my mahram, I can hug her. She's like my sister. But she's not your sister. Or she's my uncle's wife, she can hug me and give me a kiss. No, she can't. She's not your mahram. You see? But she's like my mother. Yes, but she's not your mother. She's like my sister. Yes, but she's not your sister. Your sister is mahram for you, not your cousin. Unless, of course, you marry your cousin. Then she becomes your mahram. You can smile, shouldn't Your cousin is not your mahram. Anyone whom, according to the Sharia of Islam, you can marry, is not your mahram. Not your mahram. Though culturally we might make, oh, it's okay, he's like my brother, so I don't need to wear hijab in front of him. Culturally we have that. Or, and this whole concept of cultural hijab that we have. That itself is a whole thing. Like if I just put like a little bit of cloth on my head and I call it a dupatta and then maybe this is enough. No, this is not enough. See, the religion says that not a single hair should show. No form of the body should show. So now out goes the dupatta and out goes the colourful clothing. The religion says that you must cover up until your wrists for women. According to Ayatollah Sistani, you must cover your feet. This is hijab. But our culture somehow is more important than Islam. And so now, when the narrations say that those that awaited him will be the first to reject him, it makes sense. Because he's going to be coming and attacking our culture. We're going to like, hey, touch anything else but this culture, this dupatta. No, not the dupatta. Don't make me wear this proper hijab. No, I like this see-through dupatta. That's why we're going to get angry. That's why people are going to write letters to him and say, look, go back. We were fine without you. When we can't establish the religion in ourselves right here and now, there's no hope for us to be able to establish it or be by his side when he is establishing the religion. There is no way. So now, after doing these du'as and knowing what the Imam stands for, the du'a does something interesting. It turns from singular to plural. Throughout the whole du'a, I have been asking for myself. Now once I've started speaking about the Imam, after I've spoken about how he will establish the religion upon the earth, now the du'a becomes plural. Note this tomorrow when you recite du'a iftitah. If you recite du'a iftitah. Before or after. Says, Allahumma inna narghabu. Like we desire, we ardently desire. That we ask you to do what? Dawlatin Kareema. That, oh Allah, we ask you, ardently desire from you, that you place upon us a respectful, a generous government. Allahumma inna narghabu ilayka fi dawlatin kareema tu'izzu biha al-Islam wa ahla wa tudhillu biha al-nifaq wa ahla. And now the whole dua has become totally plural. Now we're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for certain things. Now we're actually, this is our dua now. Allahumma, all this time where we've been going, Allahumma adhinta li fi du'aika wa mas'alatik, فَاسْمَعْ يَا صَمِيعُ مِدْهَتِي. You've given me the chance to recite. So supplicate. Now listen to me. And then I think, فَكَمْ يَا إِلَهِ مِنْ كُرْبَةٍ قَدْ فَرَّجْتَهَا. That how many difficulties have you dispelled? And then I fall back, Alhamdulillah الَّذِي يُجِيبُ. And then I fall into this whole state of thanking Allah. This whole movement. And now here it is what we're asking for. We're asking for the establishment of the government of the Imam. We're asking for the reappearance and the strengthening of the Imam. Allahumma ma arraftana min al-haqq fahmilna. Oh Allah, allow us to be able to bear the truth that you are about to reveal to us. Or allow us to bear that which you will make known to us as the truth. Because it will be very difficult when the Imam comes and he says, hey, all this cultural rubbish you're doing is haram. Hey, you're putting culture over Islam? No. She's your cousin, she's not your mahram. Haram. You want to say, no, in our culture, having, I don't know, someone will think you're an extremist in the US for having a beard. No. Says no, let us bear this reality. Then Islam says this is wajib. And here, when this reality manifests, it's going to be very difficult for us to bear. We get really upset when our notions of what is right and wrong are challenged. And so we're like, oh Allah, allow us to bear the reality of this truth known to us. We've got this image of this Arab with flowing hair and Arab looking, Imam coming. But then if he turns out, for example, as maybe is highly likely from the 6th Imam onwards, all the mothers were African, black African. So now, when your 12th Imam comes, and he don't look Arabian, then what's going to happen? Like, nay. Not you. You can't be Awan. I can hear it. The whisper. I can't completely black. And even now, for us, this is really shocking. What? He's trying to say that to Ramadhan, how dare he? There was a big hoo-ha that was created in the UK because I said this in some Jamaat, and they thought somehow black is bad. This is our, destroyed minds. This is how lowly our minds are. That we view black as being bad. It's a color. But look at it too, and many people will sit there going, he's talking rubbish. But go home and look at who the mothers from the 6th Imam onwards were. From the wife of the 6th Imam until the 12th Imam. And then when you start researching Hasnain Zaidi, then you'll come across something very interesting again. And then you'll realize the Roman story is a load of rubbish, and actually she was from Sudan. And then you'll be like, okay, well, maybe he might be black. This is Allahumma. Make us, give us tahammul. Let us be able to bear the reality of this religion that is about to be, this bombshell that's about to be dropped on us. On every angle. That this religion that I've created, and I think it's like pretty cool that I don't grow one of those, I don't wear one of those. I sometimes praise some of those. But, everything else, is okay. But when he comes, he's like, hey, this is the religion. You want to follow it or not? It's up to you. And so it'll be a very difficult time for us. For those that have spent their lives turning away and destroying the reality of the religion. When he comes to establish it, we won't like it. So then we say, Allahumma al-mum bihi sha'fana. Now we start asking for a specific dua. What is the next part of the dua that we ask for? It says that, oh Allah, set in order our disorder through him. Oh Allah, unite our flock through him. Stitch together our ripped separation through him. Increase our few numbers through him. Raise us from degradation through him. This is the dua. Now the whole dua has passed. But what we're actually asking for here is at the end. He's saying, oh Allah, through him bring us together. Oh Allah, through him give us unity. But we only want that unity. Not the unity that we recite with dua wahda, with smiles on our faces, holding the person next to us his hand, and actually thinking, I don't have to sit next to you in this dua. It's not that dua. Or dua wahda, and in our mind thinking, that person I don't like, this person I don't like. I would never go to Daribatul. I would never show my face at Sabah. This is what wahda? What wahda? What dua wahda? It doesn't mean dua wahda, we only do wahda because ICZ is one small little army. No, the dua wahda is for all the Muslims, which they recited post going towards Fath Makkah, in order to create the fear in the hearts of the mushrikeen and the kuffar. But here we are in our own little centers reciting our little dua wahdas. And the enemy is looking at us laughing at that. They wouldn't sit with each other and recite dua wahda, let alone, easy take them apart. And you see, this is the problem. That everything is superficial. Our religion is superficial. It's just on our tongue. There's no depth to it. Because I would be able to look beyond my own personal differences. But what we're reciting in this dua is, oh Allah, through him make me overlook all my own personal issues. Bring us together. It's not saying, oh Allah, bring me together those that are in ICZ. No. Stitch together our ripped open separation only in ICZ, or only in Sabah, or only in Daribatul. No. It's saying as a whole. It's not saying just the Pakistanis, or just the Hyderabadis, or just the Iranians, or just the Iraqis. No. Here I don't see it. I'm looking. There's nothing here about Hyderabadis. As much as they may think that they're from heaven. But there's nothing here. There's no mention of the Punjabis either, unfortunately. But here it's saying you transcend. Through the Imam, you transcend beyond culture, beyond language, beyond country. See, we're no longer looking at this point. We're speaking as a unified nation. We're no longer looking at those that are around us. We're no longer looking at my own personal differences. I'm reciting this dua for 30 days. If after 30 days I still have some sort of hatred or some sort of latent disregard for another fellow human being, for another Shia of Ali Muhammad, then there's a problem. I've done something totally wrong. See, the whole dua, this is what we're asking. We're constantly asking. Crying, constantly saying, no, through him, bring us together. We don't want unity unless it's under the banner of the Imam. We don't want to be brought together unless it's with the banner of the Imam. So now when you place all your desires to a higher power, you no longer hate the sinner, but you may hate the sin, but you can still love the sinner. It's a difficult place to be, to hate the sin but love the sinner. But we're living in difficult times. In this ghaiba, in this akhir al-zaman within which we are living, it's very difficult. You look at the narrations in regards to the coming of the Imam, the signs of the reappearance. We all love the signs of the reappearance. We all want to look at them, but don't want to learn from them. We're like, what's the sign of the reappearance? I don't know. Men will walk around talking to their palms, and we're like, oh my God, it's close. It means mobiles. And then we're like, okay, and then? So it's close. What have I done to change myself? There will be a shaitan on top of every home. That's the aerial from which the TV, the antenna. Okay, so what have I done to change, to prepare? Men will leave their homes mu'min, return home kafir. Holding on to the iman will be easier than holding on to burning coal. Holding burning coal will be easier than holding on to the iman. I know it, I see it, but what have I done about it? One of the narrations, which I'll start today and finish off tomorrow, and for some people are like, he repeats his lectures. I'm just making sure, when I say to you, I will start today and finish tomorrow, that means it's one hadith. I will talk about part of it today and the rest of it tomorrow. It's not a repetition. But if we don't listen, obviously it'll sound like a repetition because we zone in and out, you know how we are. Anyhow, so it says, the signs of the Zuhur, or the signs of Akhir al-Zaman, or the Alaim of the Zuhur in Akhir al-Zaman will be what? The first, بطونهم آلهتهم, their stomachs will be their gods. Quite pertinent, really, in Shahr Ramadan. Adhan happens and we're like, I've got to eat, not pray. بطونهم آلهتهم, they will forget God. They will make their stomachs their gods. They will do everything in order to please their stomachs. They will put God aside and put their stomach first. Do you see how much this stomach appears, at least in my lectures right now, that I've given you in the last 15 days, how much have I mentioned food and the stomach as being a destructive force within spirituality? And it's not just me repeating it, no. There are narration after narration after narration about it, that speak about the stomach being like the cause of all sin, the stomach or food being the root of dragging a person towards haram. Their stomachs will become their gods. The second one, somewhat controversial, but we'll go with it. وَنِسَاؤُهُمْ قِبْلَتُهُمْ, and their women will become their qibla. Their women folk will become their qibla. Do this. Yes, I'll try. Yes. Come here. Yes, coming. Take of it what you will. They will become the focus of their sole attention. The society will be inclined towards them. You look at our society, look how it is. Forget that the Quran says, الرجال قوامون على النساء. It's the other way around for us. It says that their women will become their qibla. The focus of their attention, everything, will be in order to please the women. There was a story that Ayatollah Mujtahidi Tehrani tells in regards to this part of the hadith. He says that there was a man during the time pre-revolution, that at the time of Raza Shah Pahlavi, what would happen is that women, if they were to go to the university, it was all secular, so they had to remove their hijab. So there was this one man, Mutadayyin, Salatul Layl, whatever, but his wife was like, no, you need to send our daughters to university. I said, send our daughters to university. And he was arguing, they were like, okay, fine, send them. So he took off the hijab. 3 daughters like this, went to university, took off the hijab. He says, when my 4th daughter became of age to go to university, he says, I said, no more. I am not allowing my daughters to leave the religion by removing their hijab. Because, it's, as I've explained, certain actions of us make us fasiq or kafir, by openly doing so. So he says, I'm not allowing my daughters to leave the religion by taking off their hijab. And he says, I fought with my wife, I fought with her, I made sure that there is no way that she would go. So she didn't go to the university. Says after that fight, that night I saw a dream. In my dream, there were 4 Qur'ans that were on fire and were burnt. But there was a 4th one that I managed to save from the fire. And during the argument with his wife, he'd thrown something that contained liquid. He says that same liquid was over this Qur'an. The sides of it was slightly burnt, but the rest of it was fine. So in the morning, he went to Ayatollah Burjardi. He went to Ayatollah Burjardi and he said to him that, I've had this dream, can you interpret it? Ayatollah Burjardi said, go to Tehran and go and meet with another alim who will interpret this dream for you. He went to the alim. He says, I didn't tell him the situation, I just told him the dream. He says, you have 3 daughters, 3 of whom have taken off their hijab. There is 1 daughter who you have preserved. This is that Qur'an that you saved. The 3 burnt Qur'ans are your daughters that have removed their hijabs.
No.
وَنِسَاءُهُمْ قِبْلَتُهُمْ. Their women will become their qibla. We have it. There is something that needs to be done that is rational, but the emotions of a woman will make us do something else. And so people will, move from something else towards نِسَاءُهُمْ قِبْلَتُهُمْ. This is a narration. Inshallah, the other 2 or 3 will recite to go through tomorrow as well. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first and foremost gives me the tawfiq to act upon that which I have said. Secondly, He gives you the tawfiq to act upon that which you have heard. Oh Allah, forgive our sins. Forgive the sins of our parents. Those of our parents that are alive, give them long lives. Those of our parents that have left this world, give them a place next to Ala Muhammad in Jannah. Oh Allah, those who are ill, give them shifa'ah. Those who are in debt, clear their debts. Those who are in education, make them successful. Oh Allah, keep safe the Shia of Ali Muhammad around the world. Allow us to come to the aid of our fellow mu'mineen around the world. Oh Allah, hasten the reappearance of the Imam of our time and count us amongst His true muttaqeen, His true waiters, for the acceptance of these du'as and any du'as of brothers and sisters abroad. Please recite aloud salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.